Richician.
Hey YouTube, Richician84 here, and welcome to another top 20 video. And I'm doing something that I didn't think to count down until recently. My top 20 hated main deck monsters that are not ritual or pendulum monsters. So yeah, I thought I'd cover this right now. I don't know if this will be in one part or two parts. We'll just see how it goes. Um, yeah, these are the most infuriating main deck monsters in the game, like in my personal opinion, all of which have made my dueling life a misery in some way or another. Um, But before I begin, I just want to say that I don't mean any offence to anyone who plays these cards. These are just simply my thoughts and opinions, and I'm explaining why I hate them so much. So much so that I wish they just didn't exist. Anyway, let's begin. Number 20, Yatagarossu. Um, yeah, a long time hated card. Yeah, like I think a lot of people can agree that this card was just nasty back in the Yatterlock format. Yeah, I experienced it firsthand way back, and it just made my dueling life a misery. Like, a Chaos Emperor Dragon, nuke the field and both our hands, then trigger the effects of either Sangan or Witch of the Black Forest to add Yatta, summon Yatta, and attack, do damage, opponent can't draw for the rest of the duel. Like, that is just not fair. And yeah, both cards were banned on the October 2004 list for a good reason. Um, Thankfully, well, not thank. I don't know. I mean, Chaos Emperor Dragon did get an errata though, so I no longer have a reason to hate the Chaos Emperor. But Yatta should have stayed banned. Like, unbanning it was just so dumb. I mean, you could argue that it's not seeing a lot of play right now, but it can be, and it is actually possible to still pull off the Yatterlock in the right deck. Maybe not as consistently as back in the day, but it can be done. Stupid, unfair bird is stupid. Number 19, Cosmo Farm Girl. Now, as you know, I hate Cosmo because all it ever does is OTK, or if it doesn't, then you get stuck behind beat sticks that have targeting immunity and will float if you try and destroy it. Uh, if you destroy them, that is. Um, but here's the thing: Farm Girl is the problem card. Because, like I said, you clear the board, summon one of the small Cosmo monsters, activate E-Telly, special summon Farm Girl, attack with both. Farm Girl, pay 500, add a Cosmo, banish both monsters, drop two bigger Cosmos, and then attack the game. And if it's not quite game, drop limiter remove. Like, how is that even fair? And why has nothing been done about Farm Girl? Like, this bitch is the problem card. Always has been, always will be. And yet, nothing was done to her. Absolute bullshit. Speaking of OTK decks, this brings us to number 18. Grapha, the Dragon Lord of Dark World, an old arch nemesis of mine. Like, this card, along with its fusion upgrade and Dark Smog, are the source of my hatred for Dark World. I mean, like I said before, all they ever do is OTK with this card. Like, Um, Play a load of discard cards, have Grappa pop my cards, then get three of them out, and then attack the game. Just annoyed me so much, and this card was an on and off thorn in my side since we got the first Dark World structure deck all the way back in 2011, and Dark World was already annoying enough as it is. And then this bastard comes along. Um, and it's just not fun playing against Dark World, especially not now. I mean, that fusion is just infuriating. Um, I mean, at least it's not a one strategy deck anymore, but still, um, Grappa just annoys me so much. But to be fair, card destruction and morphing jar are the main problem cards. Like they are the OTK enablers, and I hate that they got unbanned just to promote dangers. But all they did was give Dark World back their ability to OTK. They were just such stupid changes, and I hate that. I hate it when Konami uses the ban list for money-making purposes rather than fixing problems in the game and keeping problematic decks in check. It's fucking ridiculous. Number 70, DD Crow. Like, one of the most annoying hand traps in the game. I really fucking hate Crow so much because it's a cheap shot banish card. Just cheaply getting rid of something just like that. And even ruining comeback plays. Like, I once lost through end of match procedure, like in a city tournament, because of this card. And I couldn't get my life points higher because it banished my Dark Magician, which really pissed me off. And then it happened again last time I played against Goatees. Like, and on a day when there was just so much Dark Magician hate in that tournament, everyone was just out to get my favourite monster. Um, Mainly with Bestials, but yes, that certain Goatee player just had to drop DD Crow. Unforgivable. Um, but yeah, that's all there is to it, really. It's a cheap, dirty card that just cheaply banishes something just like that. Never liked it, never will. Number 16, Amoeba. Very random, I know, but yes, it is really annoying when a certain water control player I know, like playing it with GOAT format, uses this with creature swap and not only inflicts 2,000 points of damage to me, but takes one of my best monsters, one of which, of course, was Dark Magician, which was just insulting. But even if it's not Dark Magician that's being taken, it's just the fact that it's a cheap game ender. Like when my life points are on 2,000 or less, it's just a cheap, dirty way to win the duel. Um, Combos like this are a reason why I think creature swap should be banned. Problem is, it's legal in Goat, even though it was a 2 at the time, um, but even so, it's just an annoying spell that just gets used and abused for OTK purposes or cheap easy wins. Not specifically with Amoeba, but still. Cheap burn card is cheap. Number 15, Kashtira Fenra. Yeah, I hate Kashtira, and this card is one of the reasons why. Not necessarily for its search effect, but the fact that it can just banish any monster face down that it attacks. Again, it's cheap and dirty. Um, sure, it has to be able to attack first, but obviously that's not hard to do. And of course, it's too easy to summon and get onto the field. Um, and it's just overused and abused in pretty much any deck, not just its own archetype. It's just so annoying. I mean, it's one thing to banish, but banishing face down is even worse, which of course is the gimmick of Kashtira. And face down banished cards are harder to recover than face up ones. Like, there's fuck all ways to get them back. Um, like, well, I think the only three I can think of are Necroface, Sideframe Lord Omega, um, and Elemental Hero Electrum. That's literally it. Um, yeah, that's really all there is to say about Fenra. And speaking of cheap shot banish cards, this brings us to number 40, Gaius the Shadow Monarch, another old arch nemesis of mine. I hate all the monarchs, especially this one. It's another cheap shot banish card, which has been a thorn in my side for years. And it's just too easy to get out onto the field and banish something just like that. Of course, it's not hard to get tribute fodder for monarchs. And Gaius is one of the most annoying ones of them all. Especially since if I'm on 1,000 or less life points, the opponent can tribute summon Gaius and have Gaius banish itself just to inflict that uh, last amount of damage, which is a cheap, dirty, dishonourable, and disrespectful way to win. Like banishing your own monster just to take that last cheap shot at my life points. I mean, it's basically like Ring of Destruction on your own monster for game. That is, if Ring had its original text. And that's basically what Caius is. And it was just overused and abused in decks outside of its own archetype. Zombies, Lembels, um, Cyber Dragons. It's just infuriating. Number 13, Droll and Cockbird. Um, Another of the most annoying hand traps in the game. I hate this fucker so much. Um, just because it shuts down searches for the rest of the turn, after doing one. Um, and yeah, for me, that's really annoying when playing Dark Magician or a hero deck. I mean, it just pretty much stops me in my tracks. And then I'm and then I'm forced to only use what I have to work with. Um, it's just absolute bullshit. It's just one of the most overused hand traps in the game. Like, well, not as overused as Ash Blossom, but still, um, like it can just slow down games too much. I mean, yeah, you could argue that it's great against meta, um, but it's just pure evil when people use it against players that aren't even playing meta. It's just so fucking annoying. That's all I have to say about that. And speaking of Ash Blossom, this little bitch is at number 12. Now, I did already talk about this in my top 10 hated card video, which I did almost a year ago. Now, I know that hating Ash Blossom is an unpopular opinion, but, you know, there are reasons why people hate Ash Blossom. In my case, it's because it's one of those cards that just outright stops you from being able to do anything. Like it just needs to stop one of these effects right here, and that can just end turns right there and then. Not all the time, I know, but it can happen. Um, but regardless, it makes it very difficult to play, or at least that turn anyway. Like this little bitch really pisses me off, just stopping me from pretty much doing anything. And it's just overused, and I'm just so sick of seeing it in almost every fucking deck. Um, and it's one of the reasons why I stopped playing in tournaments, just because of how overused it is. But even then, it comes up. Like in casual games sometimes. And there's just no escape. Alright, fair enough, it's a necessary evil against the meta, but to me, it's pure evil. I mean, it's all very well using it to stop competitive decks, but it's like, do you really have to bring it into a casual game against a casual player playing a casual deck? Like, some of us are just trying to actually play a game of Yu-Gi-Oh and have some fun, regardless of who wins and who loses. And then there's the fact that it's just almost impossible to stop. Then again, that's just it with hand traps. Like, they're practically impossible to stop, unlike actual traps. I mean, there's just not many ways to counter them. I mean, yeah, there's Called by the Grave, but it's limited, and the chances of drawing that are too damn slim. And I know there is also Triple Tactics Talents and Cross Out Designator, but they're too expensive and too difficult to get. Some of us can't spare the money for a playset of those spells. Meaning that there's fuck all ways to deal with her still. It could main deck the next best thing, Prohibition, if I wanted to, but it's hard to find the space for things like this. You know, cards that are being made to specifically counter one. I mean, that's all there is to say, really. To hell with Ash Blossom. Number 11, Banisher of the Radiance, because it's a macrocosmos on legs. And yeah, I've expressed my hatred for macro time after time. Um, but Banisher is one that hardly ever gets talked about. Um, and like this card is just infuriating, as like I keep saying, I play decks need the graveyard, and I like having a graveyard. I want to be able to use my graveyard so I can play the game. But Banisher is like, nah, you can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Um, I hate that. Like, I hate walking floodgates so much. Like, I mean, I don't have much else to say about Banisher other than it's a cheap shot banish card. Just cheap and dirty, just like Macro and D Fissure in general. Number 10, Thunder King Ryo, purely because it stops searching, and I play a lot of decks that do lots of searching. Dark Magician, Heroes, Stardust Junk, and Thunder King just outright stops that. And then I can't play the game, and it really pisses me off. Like, if I'm playing one of those decks and the opponent's going first, and then they normal summon Thunder King, I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, really? Absolute fucking bullshit. Like, again, it just slows the game down way too much. Like, and makes it just too difficult to play. And it's like, how am I supposed to play if I can't search? Um, the other effect doesn't come up that much. Although that one doesn't bother me as much. Um, but still, like, it's just one of those annoying cards that just slows games down too much and makes it impossible to be able to play pretty much. Um, unless I see some generic monster removal like Geki, Dark Hole, Smashing Ground, Mirror Force, things like that. Um, but yeah, fuck Thunder King. Number 9, Rise of the Storm Monarch. Like, another of the most annoying monarchs in the game. I mean, as annoying as Caius is, Riser is technically worse because it spins a card to the top of the deck and makes it impossible for me to draw a new card. And I hate cards like that. Don't like being denied drawing a new card. I mean, it's bad enough that Time Seal and Phoenix Wing Wind Blast exist. And then we've got Riser. Like, again, it can technically slow games down too much. Sure, I can still use what I already have in my hand or anything else I have on the field to fight back, but not always. I don't know, it's just so cheap and dirty. Um, that's all I can say about it. Number 8 is the upgraded form, Riser the Mega Monarch. Until my first encounter with Flunderies, I never encountered this card until then. Um, and yeah, it is even more infuriating than the original, like spinning two cards to the top of my deck. Um, like one from the field and one from the graveyard. Um, like it's just so cheap and dirty, and and then it stops me drawing two new cards for 2 turns, which is even worse. Like, why, why, why did this card have to be made? In fact, not only is this annoying in its own archetype, it's also annoying in Flunderies. Like, Flunderies just shouldn't be a thing anyway, but Riser is one of those cards that makes the deck even more annoying. Um, In fact, I actually hope come next ban list, Thunderies get properly hit and this bastard gets fucking banned. Of course, that being said, I shouldn't even care that much considering I don't play in tournaments anymore and I don't really have to deal with competitive Yu-Gi-Oh anymore. But yeah, bullshit like this makes tournament play off-putting. I'm just saying. Number 7, Denko Sucker, one of those cards that I keep forgetting exists. But yeah, this is really annoying for someone that uses battle traps and Eternal Soul. Because yeah, I then can't set any traps to defend myself with, and then any face down back row I have is just sealed up. Like that really pisses me off so much. Just another walking floodgate. Um, I mean, I will admit though, it is great against something like Altergeist and Paleozoic Frog. That I will admit. Um, but then other decks are just forced to suffer. Um, I mean, yeah, Jinzo technically does the same thing, like stops traps from being activated, but that's different. Like you have to, that card actually requires effort to put onto the field. You know, I have to work to get um, cards like Jinzo out on the field, even if it only needs one tribute. But Denko Sucker can just be summoned just like that, and then it's like you can't play the game. That's all there is to it. Number 6, Mist Valley Apex Avian. I hate it because it's a card that negates everything pretty much. Sure, a card has to be returned to the hand, including itself, but in the right deck, that's nothing to give up. Like, not in its own archetype, not even in like Pendulum Magician or something. Um, yeah, this is a card that they can play, and it just gets overused and abused like so much. And of course, it's also a card that fucking blunderies can get out just like that, even turn one. It's like, how is this even fair? Like, again, just like Riser, I hope this fucking bastard card gets banned. Number 5, Fossil Diner, because it's a card that shuts down special summons, and I hate cards that shut down special summons, as I need my special summons to be able to play the game, which of course is most of my decks, but Fossil Diner just says no. I mean, to be fair, it's the easiest one to deal with because it has low attack and defense points, but still, it's usually backed up by a load of traps. Uh, like I can't think of anything specific off the top of my head. Uh, um, yeah, there's always some sort of protection for Fossil Diner, um, and it just makes it impossible to be able to play. Um, that's really all there is to it. And it's an annoying added extra that gets played in barrier statue stun and is one of the main problem cards in generic anti-meta. Fuck this card. Number 4, Jougun the Spiritualist. Another monster that shuts down special summons. Yeah, I hate this fucker, and I hate it even more because it it usually gets special summoned off Spellbook of Judgment. Yeah, unbanning Spellbook of Judgment was a mistake. I'm gonna say it now, because now it gives anything that can run the Spellbook engine, whether it's Spellbook itself or Endymion, the ability to summon this card off Judgment during the end phase. And Endymion, of course, is just annoying and OP enough as it is. Um, and this just adds insult to injury. I mean, if Konami were gonna unban Spellbook of Judgment, like they could have at least banned Jougun in the process. Like, come on. Number 3, Vanitys Fiend. Another monster that shuts down special summons. Um, yeah, despite being a level 6, it's just too easy to get out onto the field because either any kind of tribute summon deck can just bring it out. Or it just gets sided against me, like in things like trying to think, Mitron, I guess. I can't remember, but I know it was side decked a lot very recently, and it was sided against me, which really pissed me off. Um, and of course, it's one of the problem cards in Dark Lords. They can just special summon a load of monsters, and then this card can come out and just stop me from being able to do anything pretty much. Although it is something I question because it kind of defeats the whole point of Dark Lords. But Vanitys Fiend is still annoying as well. Number 2, Archlord Christia. Another monster that shuts down special summons and also gets played in Dark Lords. Um, yeah, I've never liked Christia, and I never will. And this card really pissed me off back when agents were seeing play in the meta. Um, and then, of course, started annoying me in Dark Lords. Um, and I think because of like the frustration it caused in agents, like I was really hoping it would get banned, but it didn't. I mean, look at this, like 2800 beast stick shuts down special summons. It's too fucking easy to summon, and even if I do destroy it, it just goes to the top of the deck, ready to be summoned again later. It's fucking ridiculous and degenerate as fuck. Oh yeah, and it's also something that can be played in my most hated deck, Herald. I mean, this being played alongside a ritual that negates everything is just bullshit and completely unfair. That's all there is to say. Finally, in at number 1, is Naturia bamboo shoot. Very random, I know, but this one is just more annoying than all the others, in my personal opinion. Um, yeah, this fucker is one of the sources of my hatred for Naturias, the other one being Beast. But Bamboo Shoot is worse, because it just shuts down half my deck just like that. Just can't activate any spells or any traps at all, therefore leaving me unable to play, pretty much, leaving me with only monster effects to work with. Um, which isn't that easy to rely on. I mean, sure, this doesn't hurt monster effect heavy decks, but everything else just suffers. Um, why did this have to be made? I mean, literally, if this card and Naturia Beast were either banned or just never made in the first place, I wouldn't have a problem with Naturias, but unfortunately, I do. Like, it's just an annoying lockdown deck that does too many things that just don't let me play the game. Whether it's Beast on its own or Bamboo Shoot on its own. Um, so I have to get creative to try and find ways around it. Um, but unfortunately, it's usually protected by annoying traps, safe zone, the solemn brigade. It's fucking ridiculous. It's like, how are you supposed to be able to play? It's just fuck all anyone can do. No, Naturias can just rot in hell because of this card and Beast. Um, and yeah, that is it for my top 20 hated main deck monsters that are not pendulums or rituals. Um, like, as I was doing this, I did remember Time Lords and the barrier statues, but I felt like it would make this list unnecessarily long. Um, but yeah, that's the list. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and I'll catch you guys later. See ya. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the Dark Richician YouTube channel.